Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another video. My name is Jake, and I'm bringing you a deck tech on a deck that I have just recently built. It's coming in the mail. It's not ready for gameplay yet, so I thought I'd make a deck tech before any type of gameplay, and then you can see how the deck works, see if you like it, and then I can show you some action in a couple of days, and maybe this deck might be for you. But the commander is Arcades the Strategist. He is a legendary Elder Dragon. He's got flying and vigilance. He says whenever a creature with defender enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Each creature you control with defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power, and can attack as though it didn't have defender. Alright, so basically this is a walls deck with some other creatures that have ginormous booties. You can really blindside your opponents with this deck because every time a creature with defender enters, your commander lets you draw, which is amazing. And you can have, for example, Sherix, which is a 0/17 crab, swing for 17 damage. Like, this can blindside some of your opponents. You could be swinging for 20 damage. So how can we get there? Let's start off with a little bit of ramp. Obviously, I have Arcane Signet, Zoria Signet, Selesnya Signet, of course, Sol Ring. And then you have things like Farseek. You also have some walls that have defender that can also tap for mana. And that includes Vine Trellis, Overgrown Battlement, and probably one of the best cards in this deck, Axebane Guardian. He adds X mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the number of creatures with defender you control. This is like a 30 creature deck, so you're always going to have some sort of defenders out. So this could be late game tapping for 7-8 mana in any combination. Now, if you don't have your commander out, here's a couple of ways you can still do the things this deck wants to do, and that's with Assault Formation, which as each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. And if you pay a green, target creature can attack as though it didn't have defender. We also have High Alert, which gives you everything. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness, and it can attack as though it didn't have defender. Now here are some ways we can kind of control the board a little bit. We have Dusk and Dawn, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. We also have Fell the Mighty, destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power. Then we go to Retribution of the Meek, bury all creatures with power 4 or greater. This one is good to save your commander because your commander has 3 power. We're moving on. We got Slaughter the Strong. We have Wave of Reckoning. And then lastly, this is like a little stacks piece with this deck. It's Meekstone, which says no creatures with power greater than 2 untap during the controller's untap phase. This is a really good card in this deck because most defenders don't really have more than 2 power. Most of them have 0 power. And your commander, thankfully, he has 3 power, but he's got vigilance, so he doesn't tap. So he won't be affected by Meekstone unless one of your opponents taps him with a spell. And you also have another creature with defender, Weathered Sentinels. This is a 2/5, but it has vigilance. So this will turn into a 5/8 when it attacks because it gains +3/3 and indestructible. And it won't tap, so you can block with this. Now a little bit of value, we have Angelic Chorus. This says whenever a creature comes into play under your control, you gain life equal to its toughness. If you're playing like a Sherix that has 17 toughness, this enters, you're going to gain 17 life. Like, that's kind of disgusting. Also, you have Huatli, who does the same thing. If you -3 her, you gain life equal to the greatest toughness among creatures you control. Moving on to a couple other enchantments, we have Brave the Sands, which gives your creatures the vigilance so they won't tap, and they can also block an additional creature. So you have your 0/17, somebody swings at you 2 4/4s, you can block both of them with Sherix. Now, one I think is going to be a really good card in this deck that could really blindside your opponents is Stoneskin. This has Flash, and this says enchanted creature gets +0/+10. So you can swing an 0/3, and then they'll be like, alright, I won't block, I'll just take 3. You flash this, and that's an extra 10 damage. This could really work with how the deck wins, which I'll go over in a little bit later. Now we have another bit of value here. We have flicker effects. And I'll tell you why flicker effects are good. Well, let me get into the cards first. Starting with Jeskai Barricade. This is a defender. When it enters the battlefield, you may return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. It's kind of a flicker, but not exactly, but it can work with another card. That's another combo I'll go over in a little bit. And then moving out, Eerie Interlude. This exile any number of target creatures you control. Return those to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. And you also have Ghost Away, which is remove each creature you control from the game and return them to play under their owner's control at the end of turn. These are really good because your commander says whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield. So if you flicker all your creatures with Defenders, when they enter the battlefield, they're all going to trigger your commander and you're going to draw cards equal to how many re-entered. Flicker effects are really good with cards like Shield Wall Sentinel. This is a 1/3 Defender artifact creature, and when Shield Wall Sentinel enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with Defender, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So you can basically get any one of your creatures with this card, barring one or two. But you can get something like a Colossus of Akros, which can turn into a 20/20 with Trample and can attack if though it didn't have Defender. This is one of the best cards in the deck. Obviously, you need something like an Axebane Guardian to get it out. But now we move into some ways that can really get you going and close out a game. Obviously, the number one way to do this is Triumph of the Hordes. This card gives all your creatures 1/1 trample and infect. All you have to do is make sure at least you get 10 damage in on one or all of your opponents, and they will lose the game due to infect damage. So you can swing at them, and then you can hit them with a Stone Skin. Boom, they get plus 10 toughness. That already, whatever creature's getting through, it could be a little 0/1, and then Stone Skin. They're dead on infect. Also, you have Bar the Door. You have, I believe, Perimeter Captain, Tower Defense. These will really buff up your creature's toughness and can really blindside your opponent. A really little fun interaction that I've currently found. You can make your defenders unblockable with Tetsuko Umizawa Fugitive, which says creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. Almost all your defenders have 0 power. So just with this, they will not be able to be blocked. With this 2-drop, that's pretty powerful. That is a very powerful interaction. If you want to check out the deck tech, I have the list, or the deck list, I have the list down below. There's also a couple things in the considering category that might fit your playstyle a little bit better. And also something really oppressive that's in there. It's a Planeswalker. You'll see it if you look at it. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.